Alright, hi guys, I'm Josh. So I just wanted to quickly create a video that sort of describes a little bit of the background and maybe a few things that aren't, maybe you're not aware of how it works of the DeckSettings project. I want to start by going over the website real quickly and speak to a few points, maybe the why things are the way they are. Maybe that'll answer some questions. Maybe they won't. I don't know. At least then maybe it's available information to anyone who watches this video. Great. Um, so so as you know, I created this this website here. This sits in front of the DeckSettings GitHub project. I'll just close these for now. We'll come back to them. The DeckSettings project is on GitHub. The spine, the back end, the thing that sort of everything is built around. And I've made some design choices in this, and really it all comes fundamentally back to I wanted a system that was cheap to run because it's open and free. And I also needed it to be a system that anybody can collaborate with and sort of take part, like a community thing for information. And to me as a developer, GitHub ticked a lot of those boxes right off the bat. So here we are. And I've got the links to the projects here, the source and everything on the website. So the big one is this one, the game reports CMOS. This here is where everything is stored. All the data is stored here. And so the idea with this is that we've got GitHub issues being created for every report, and each report is basically a markdown format of information about a particular game. And with GitHub, you've got the ability to, it's all markdown, anything goes within the rules of markdown. So you can format things how you like, but there are some rules about, some automations in place on this GitHub repo that prevent you from just doing anything that you like. And that's for a reason. That's so that later on we can parse this data and present it in apps and things, which I'll get to in a minute. But it also means that you can easily upload images or videos or things like that you like. That's pretty cool. And so you'll see like the markdown formatting is pretty structured, and if you were to come along on GitHub and create a game report yourself, you'll see a form that you'll fill out, and this is how it generates that markdown, that body. And if you wanted to make reports, you can do it this way. It's totally fine. I personally would recommend using the website. I sort of designed the website to sit in front of the GitHub project to be a wrapper around it to try and simplify things. And so that's the ultimate goal here, but feel free to use just the GitHub project. That's awesome if that's what you want to do. So anyway, we'll come back to this. On the website, you'll see front and center some recently created reports and the most viewed things in the last 7 days. These are just viewed on any requests to the API, basically, for that particular game, to the DeckSettings project API, or rather DeckVerified.games API that sits in front of the DeckSettings project. It's counting those metrics, and here you can see what's currently trending. We'll come back to that stuff later. So let's take a quick look at a game I had up before, Stardew Valley. Let's have another look at that. So when you're viewing a game here, I just want to sort of highlight a few features of the website that's maybe something that's worth knowing. So on the left here, before I go any further, I've done my best to make this a very responsive site and now app, so that you can use it on a mobile phone. I wanted a really mobile first experience. So please, if you have suggestions or whatever, create an issue here. Like you go to the website source and you say, go to issues here. If you want to say, I've got a suggestion, feature request, or a bug report, or whatever, like when I resize it, it doesn't do this, or I'd like it if it worked better this way, or whatever, mate, come on, submit me a report here of what you want to see, and that'll help me a lot in focusing what I should be spending my time on. So anyway, what was I saying? Yes, here on the left hand side you've got links, and a small submit report button. We'll get to that in a second. You've got these little chips on the poster for the game. If you click on them, they bring up some additional information. If you click on, say for instance this one here, it will take you to the Is There Any Deal website itself. Right, so you can see here on the left we've got two community submitted reports. These here, so if you click on, you can click on them to expand them, or on the actual button, doesn't matter. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see if in the footer some links. I'll be adding some more features to this shortly, but for now, at the moment, all we've got is links to the source. So you can click here to see the source, which will show us the actual GitHub issue that contains the report data. But you could also click on the author of the report and it will show you a filtered list of these are all the ones that I've submitted, author me. So yeah, you can see other things like that. In the future, I'll be adding social buttons here for comments and things like that, so that we can partake in comments and constructive feedback or whatever here on the website, rather than having to do it all through this. But again, the website is just a wrapper around GitHub. You don't have to use it. If you did it all through GitHub, that's amazing. And GitHub already has all the features in place to be able to write a comment here saying, this is great. Oops. And comment. And submit, as internet etiquette would say. And we can, from here, you can select reports if you want to see what's different between them. You can compare them. You can just click one if you prefer this view. Sometimes nice. What else? Oh yeah, filtering. So there's a lot of devices. This list, I imagine, is going to grow over time. So the more reports come here, maybe you want to filter on a particular device when you see that. And that's great. So as I was saying before, you can generate a report just by clicking here and clicking game report and fill it in like this. That's totally fine. I can see I've done a Steam Deck report. So what I would recommend though, if you do it through this form, there's a few benefits to it. So say we want to submit one for the ROG LIX. Maybe we set a 60 frame limit, maybe we've got VRR enabled on this device. But here is where the benefit is. If you look here, if you have to put in the in-game settings in here, it's just Markdown. You're gonna have to be specific about the formatting you do, and you have to type it all from scratch. Who wants to do that? So I've created a form, and if there is already a report submitted for a game, when you open up this submit report thing, it'll auto-populate it with the previous report settings. So you kind of like, maybe half of it's already filled out and you only have to just change a few things. Maybe that's off instead of disabled, and maybe you don't want that in your report, whatever, and so like that's already done. And that's why I say that this is possibly the better way to go. And you don't need to log in. See, I'm not logged in right now on the website. I need to log in to do that. What it does is when you click submit, it'll say you're going to be redirected to GitHub. And you first click on this button to make sure you are logged in, which I know I am. Look here, I'm logged in. And then if you want to go to GitHub and you're ready to go, click that. Once you do, it'll close the form, but the data will still be there if you have to amend it later. That's totally fine, but let's have a look. So redirects us. Don't edit the title, that gets overwritten anyways. There you can see like it's auto-populated this body, which is brilliant. Saved us a lot of time, we didn't have to type this out. And it's already in the correct format. That's great. And if something was wrong and I haven't clicked create yet, that's totally fine. I can just go back here. You can see that the form is still filled out, and I can, I missed this part, so let's fill that out, right? So you can do all of this without logging into the website with your GitHub account, and again, that's cool. I was trying to make options, you know, for how the community might want to use the platform. Some games, they break up the settings in the game settings into different sections. So you might go to your display settings, and you might see like in the graphic settings you might see lighting, you know, and then underneath that you've got the lighting settings or whatever. So you can do that, and you can add a new section here like this, and maybe this is texture, and this is the texture stuff, you know. So you can break that up, and then that'll generate the markdown so that it'll be, it'll have like these level 4 headers, and it breaks it up into different sections and stuff for viewing. What else? The additional notes, I think is worth talking to. So this is again markdown. You can in here put in YouTube links and stuff like that, and it'll generate embedded YouTube videos. I'm just trying to think if we go to Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah, so here's a report that's got a YouTube video embedded into it. So that's done just purely by adding in a YouTube link into here in plain text. Doesn't matter where you put it. The website and everything will parse it. The same with the Decky plugin, it parses that and just generates an embedded YouTube video that you can play right there in the browser or right there in the Decky plugin. And likewise, you can link to it with a button instead. If you prefer, you're the author, you get to decide what you do. So shield.io buttons are also possible in the additional notes. And the additional notes is just purely for additional notes. Maybe it took some extra work to get the game to work. A common theme might be, hey, this game plays pretty good on the internal storage, but don't install it on an SD card. The shader loading is just horrendous, and you'll end up with big stutters. Something like that, you know, additional notes to how the game performs. Anyway, for the next part, I want to explore what it looks like if we log in. So again, completely optional, but logging in with your GitHub account gives you some additional things. You might see some development related things on my login here. Just ignore it. This comment does not exist. It's fine. But basically here, like, it'll push you some notifications when people comment on your on your report or whatever. It also makes report submitting a little bit cooler. So now that I've logged in, when we go back to the submit report, again, it's filled in my thing, but it's unlocked a new feature that allows me to upload screenshots. So what happens in the GitHub side of things is when I submit a report that has screenshots in the body, in in this section here, if I upload images to it, then there's an automation that triggers an OCR to parse the images to see if it can extract the data from the in-game settings. This is not 100% accurate. It's pretty accurate. Most of the reports that I've submitted, I haven't had to do anything afterwards. It's been bang on. So if you took some screenshots of your in-game settings, which I have done here, as you can see, I took a screenshot and it generated this data from it. I didn't touch it up, didn't do nothing. It just, the OCR detected that it was borderless windowed and filled in the form. That's a big time saver, right? I added this to be a time saving feature. So feel free to use that. It's not the most expensive thing in the world to use. I've got a few restrictions on what you do. I've sort of added arbitrary limits on things like the file size and the amount of images that you can upload. Not that it costs a lot, because I built this to be cheap, but you know, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so feel free, if you log in, you can use this feature. What else is different? I think that's the only thing in the form that's different. Oh, also, when you then submit the form, here we go. So if I just turn that off and go back to here, and let's say that the vsync is off. Yeah, cool. So these are my settings. And if I submit the report now, it's not going to do a redirect. Instead, what it's going to do, you see that this pop-up is slightly different now. It's just saying that I'm going to confirm and submit it in the background. I do that, you'll see some notifications, boom, it's done, and then it's got this little thing that's happening in the background. I can continue to browse the website and whatever. In fact, it should be on both tabs, but I can continue to browse. Maybe I want to start looking at reports for Hades 2. I don't know why it didn't show me logged in before. Okay, so this tab does not let me browse. Bugs need to be fixed. Here we go. So this is finished. You can see it's submitted report. Up here you'll see a breakdown of what it is. You can see my report is completed. If I click on this link here, it should take me to the source. Look at that. This is a test. Amazing. And then I can click on here and I can see the list of my reports. Just throw you in. This is another feature. When you're logged in, you can see a breakdown of all your reports here, and you can do things like you can close the report. Look at that. So what that's done is it's closed it now. It's not going to become visible to the main page. If we look back here, it's not in this recently created reports or whatever. It won't be. If we go to how do we get there? It will hide it. I guess it hasn't done it. It might take some time, but it'll hide it from here. Normally the website refreshes data every hour, so this might take an hour to disappear. That's fine. But I can also just reopen it from here, and you can see now it's reopened. I can edit the report. This is a test and will soon be deleted. Submit, yes. And you can see it's updated over on GitHub. Yeah. As I'm thinking, one thing to note, when you log in, you're using a token from your GitHub account. I've also configured that token to be very restricted in what it can do. That token is only allowed that you grant permissions to when you log in, right? That token that it gives the website, it's only allowed to create and edit issues, and it's only allowed to do it on this repository. So you wouldn't be able to use that token, for example, on any other GitHub organization or any other GitHub repository. It's very limited, so just keep that in mind when it comes to logging in. It's not like I'm taking a whole bunch of privileges or liberties with your GitHub account. It's pretty safe, pretty secure. I'm not storing that anywhere. That's stored in your local browser. I'm not storing that on my server. Nothing like that. Cool. So what else? Right. If you close a report from here, you can also then delete a report from here. That's different, right? So if we click delete, it takes about a minute to do, but you can see over here it's closed. But if we look at the automations, you'll see a ReportBot operation has been triggered. And I'll talk about ReportBot in a minute. It is the secret sauce that sort of automates a whole bunch of things in the background for this GitHub project. This will take a second. Should be done. Boom. Go on. And ReportBot has deleted this. And now if we look over here, it's gone. So what I want to point out here is, like, normally, because you're not a member of the DeckSettings organization, you wouldn't be able to delete issues. So one of the big features I created was I want you to own your reports, right? So that means if you want to delete it, you can, and that's not just closing the issue, which is still visible if you went hunting for it. It's literally deleting. You can delete the data, it's gone. It's no longer not only visible to the API and to the website, but it's also gone off the project here, deleted. If we have a look at what ReportBot can do, every time you create an issue, you'll get responded to by ReportBot with a bit of a repetitive bit of text that's the same every time, and after you read it the first time, you're like, yeah, I know. But you can now refer to this to kind of get an understanding, and every time ReportBot gets updated with new features or whatever, when you submit a report, this may have different text in it, so it may be worth reading every now and again. So if you click on this to expand, you can see a lot of the things that that you can do with it. And if you ever wanted to just test out what it does, you can put in /ReportBot help, and it will print out a list of current options. And but you can always refer to this. You can see, like, as a community, you can ReportBot has replied to my comment here. You can see it's got all these options. As an author, you can delete your issue. This is what we just used before. Or you can resolve community, what's the word? Community raised issues, which are these ones down here. So say, for example, you come across a report that's just got a spelling mistake, something that you think, that could be corrected to improve. These are designed to be for the community to assist each other, not for critiquing as such. Maybe something is worded in a way that you're just like, I don't understand it. What you can do is you can use these to flag, and it will you basically say, for example, here I've written some examples of something like that. So, like, request clarification, could you clarify where the FPS was measured, for example, blah blah blah. Say, for instance, you see something where maybe the wattage reported was like 3 watts for the total power used, and you're like, that device cannot do a total system power of 3 watts. So you might request clarification, because otherwise the battery stats that get passed later on would be all incorrect. So that's like a helpful thing that you can do. Maybe the person accidentally submitted the same report twice, in which case you can flag it. And that also helps with filtering later on, because when you are on the actual page here, there will be another thing here if there's reports that have been marked as duplicates by the community. So the community members can do this, but then the author also has the ability to resolve them. So if the author is like, I don't, that's incorrect, or after they've changed the report or whatever, they can come along here and resolve the particular thing that was raised by the community, or resolve all of them. So yeah, just gives people a little bit more control over it. And what I'm going to do with the website is I'm going to hook into ReportBot to automate a whole bunch of these features. So like I was saying, we'd end up with some social interactions down the bottom. We'll be able to comment, but also we'll be able to flag it. Say for instance, you'll be able to mark this report as a duplicate. Duplicate of what? Maybe you say it's a duplicate of this report over here. Done, submitted. And it sort of automates in the background, just to sort of keep everything tidy and whatever. What else is worth discussing? So, right, so I think it's sort of covered basically everything that I wanted to go over. Yeah, so I think to really drive it home, this project is designed to be completely 100% open source, ad-free, and free money-wise. If you do want to support the project, I do like coffee and beer, so send me a few dollars, that's great. Maybe also it would help fund things like the iOS app, which is something that I want to get onto later on. But yeah, you can sort of get an idea now of what the project is for and where it's heading, and I really hope it's useful to everybody. So for that note, this is me signing off. Have fun.